Good evening, Iowa City, North Liberty, West Branch, Tipton, all our audience everywhere who welcome this wonderful program, which is Education Exchange, one of the most popular programs all over the country. And we are getting more and more popular every day, and will be more popular now that we have Lincoln Elementary with us.
Thank you.
A very important school in our district in Iowa City, and we have active students leading a wonderful national or international project for Water for Life, extending and outreaching to Africa, to people who are in need. So we are tonight shedding the light on a wonderful program about Lincoln Elementary School. To my right-hand side is Ann. And Ann, can you introduce yourself and the team that you brought with you?
Well, I'm Ann Langenfeld. I'm the principal at Lincoln Elementary here in Iowa City. And I have 3 students, a parent, and a faculty member with me. So I'll introduce them. To my right is Veronica, 6th grader, Lindy, 6th grader, Mr. Ben Clark, who is a parent, and he also works for the city of Iowa City, Miles, a 3rd grader, and Mrs. Ann McAnelly, who is a primary teacher and very instrumental with our all-school project.
Now we're not going to talk about everything you do, because you do a lot of things. And you have lions everywhere, right?
We do. We roar with pride.
Okay, so I hear about the sounds and the splash, and so now let us focus on one thing tonight, which is your Water for Life.
Right.
This is a remarkable program that was started in Minnesota some time ago, when a lady there, Patty Hall, received a request from Kenya, some village in Kenya, to get some support from America to get better water. The water there is polluted, as you know, and full of parasites and bacteria and all that. And kids in Minnesota, in this White Bear Lake city, collected money and fundraised, and they used this money to send to Kenya to start a project there to have clean water. And now you became part of this project.
Right. Well, I'll kind of wind up a little bit here. And last spring, the faculty and myself got together and we were talking about what we would do for an all-school project. We wanted something that would have a great impact on our students, increase global awareness, but help us also think about how to apply science, technology, engineering, and math to our local situation too. So we started looking at the earth elements, and water naturally came up. And so we decided to tackle the water crisis in the world, raise global awareness for that, and then also do something service learning that went beyond our walls of school. And so Mrs. McAnelly was on the all-school project, and that committee looked at ways so that we could integrate our learning of water throughout our school day, our school year, and think about how we could do that in our regular school day. And so we've just had an absolutely fabulous year. It's exceeded our expectations. So we want to share some of that with tonight. And at the end of the show, we have a documentary that was produced by the City High students and the video production crew, and that video will show, which will kind of put pictures to our words so everyone can see.
So we are going to spend with Veronica, Lindy, Clark, and Ann, and Miles. We are going to spend about 10 minutes, 11 minutes, and then we move to the video that you brought with you tonight. So let me see what Veronica has to tell us.
Well, this is a book called A Long Walk to Water by Linda Sue Park, and it's about 2 stories that are very the same and very different. It's about 2 characters, Salva and Naya. Salva's story takes place in 1985, and he's one of the lost boys of South Sudan, and he has to make his way across Africa to find his family, which he was separated from, and to also find safety. And Naya is a girl in 2008 who spends multiple hours each day walking to water. And so it shows the hardships of being in South Sudan and why they need water.
Of course, this happened after the civil war there.
Yes.
I mean, there were like fights and killing everywhere. And we hear about thousands, but there were like hundreds of thousands of people murdered during this. And imagine if you lose human power and the resources in the meantime, that is a disaster, usually. So you are doing a noble project there, helping the kids in.
Yes. And the author actually came to Lincoln. Linda Sue Park was a visiting author in the district this year, and she came and spoke to us. And she also emphasized that need for clean water across the world, and about how many children every day cannot go to school because they spend half the day walking to the water, collecting unsanitary, unclean water, and carrying it all the way back. And so for us, at the end of the year, we had to postpone it, but in next month, we're doing our long walk to water, where we're going to simulate that walk, and the children are going to carry empty vessels. The older children will walk about a mile, so a half a mile with an empty vessel, collect water, and then walk back. And so we're going to do that. So it's not only symbolic, but it also takes into account what that long walk to water means.
Mr. Clark, how do they clean the wastewater there?
The wastewater treatment plant?
Yeah.
Well, there are several different processes which we discussed during our field trip for the STEM Club. First, they remove the bigger particles, then they separate the solids and the liquids, and then they actually treat the nutrients in the liquids. Yeah, they have several different processes for treating the wastewater. The first thing to do is remove the larger particles, sand and grit, logs, things that get in the sanitary sewer. Then they separate the solids and the liquids by gravity. And then the liquids, they actually aerate, and what that does is it removes nutrients. And then it goes through a secondary process where they separate solids and liquids again. The liquids are then disinfected and placed back into the river.
And of course, this process obviously costs a lot of money, right?
Yeah, it requires quite a bit of energy, yes. And we're always looking for energy savings.
So do you think most of the money that you raise here goes there to do that, or well, that's part of the process?
You mean for Iowa City?
Yeah, no,
Yeah, well,
for Africa.
Oh, for Africa, no, we're not working on a wastewater project for Africa.
At all.
But I guess my involvement with the STEM group was to show them how we treat wastewater in Iowa City, and they directly related that to the filters that they were doing in their STEM club.
And this is part of their service learning experience, right?
The STEM group is it's part of the all school project, but it's sort of a
Preparation.
separate. Yeah.
Okay.
They learn how to filter water.
And Miles is involved with this?
Correct. Yes.
Miles, do you like the project?
Yeah.
You can hold the microphone and tell me, what do you like about the project?
Well, it's kind of learning and having fun at the same time.
And having fun at the same time, which is important too. Do you share this idea, Lindy?
Like having fun
Mhm.
and well, we definitely tried to have fun, and the sixth graders went around and shared like a PowerPoint or poster or something, and we tried to make it as fun as possible for all the younger kids. That was one thing that made us want to teach them and also have fun doing it.
So there is a kind of leadership in the team. Like there are some leaders and some people are teaching others, right?
Yeah.
And then that's your role as a senior in the school?
Yeah.
And you get a lot of help from the staff there?
Yeah. They help us a lot, and then they also introduced us to like A Long Walk to Water and H2O for Life, and yeah, so that's what made us get into the move.
And this is the role of Ann McAnelly, right? So correct in my pronunciation of your name first.
Yep, yeah, that's correct, Ann McAnelly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, a large part of the All School Project every year is to look for those peer learning and teaching opportunities, and we often look to our older students in the intermediate grades to mentor and help out with our goals and purposes, and so oftentimes we'll find opportunities for them to work with the younger children. And one of the ways they did that this year was they put together presentations related to water quality and conservation, and then they came into the classrooms and presented to the younger kids, and that really gets the younger kids excited. I think more so than the teachers can is when they see their peers so excited and involved. And so we often, as I said, look to those older students to do that.
One of the very particular advantage of being at Lincoln is the support of the volunteer group and of the parents. The parents are so much involved in the education process of their kids. So do you find that the parents are helping in this?
You know, we couldn't have made the progress we did and met the goals we did, not only financially, but in all of the learning opportunities that the kids had without the parents and the PTO and the local businesses and students and other teachers and faculty, not only within Lincoln but within the district. As Ann said, we have a video tonight made by some City High students, and with our upcoming Walk to Water, we have organizations in the community who will be volunteering for that. Our PTO donated books, T-shirts have been donated, and as a teacher and a teacher on the committee, I just want to use this opportunity to say thank you to all of those volunteers, especially our Lincoln parents who we're so lucky to have and thankful for.
And definitely to your leadership here too, because without our
yep.
enthusiasm, it won't fly.
Exactly.
We have about 2 minutes to conclude this segment of the show, and then we'll move to your video. And I want to use it to, do you have anything to add to this? Veronica, Lindy, would you like to say anything to the public about your school, to inform?
Well, we also read some other books. One was A Cool Drink of Water, and it basically shows a bunch of ways that people around the world get their water from like rivers and wells and all that, and it shows the differences from like good water and bad water and how, yeah. So, and then we also read One Well, and this basically just teaches a bunch of facts, which also gets our minds going about water. And it also shows about how many gallons America and Russia and a bunch of other countries use, and our average person actually uses about twice as much as Russia does, which I thought that was pretty interesting. So, yeah.
Of course, you know, this show is going to be aired on Public Access TV Channel 18 regularly on Mondays at about dinner time, 7 o'clock, and Saturday at about 1:30 in the afternoon, because there is no school, so people can watch it. We are always on YouTube. You can find us on the Public Access TV website, as well as, of course, Channel 21, and you can watch the listing. And they will probably start airing it next week after the board meeting. So there are many. Tomorrow you can watch this on YouTube. So you have a lot of time to enjoy talking about Lincoln and informing the community about your efforts. I thank you very much for the effort. Thank you for coming. Thanks to the parents who are involved and their enthusiasm, and the parents who are sitting here among the studio audience. Some of them I have known them for years, and at the end I would like to see you again soon to talk about other things.
Sounds great.
And thanks to John Karhoff and Mike Peterson, the two producers of this show, and directors and everything else.
Welcome to Lincoln Elementary. I'm Ann Langenfeld, I'm the principal. Come on in and let's see what we've been learning about water this year. One of the missions of Lincoln Elementary is to work on service learning and to get our kids thinking globally but yet acting locally. So when the faculty and myself came together, we talked about what we could do for an all-school project, and we wanted it to have a large impact and get the kids thinking about things that are more than just here within our school. So we looked at the earth elements and we chose water this year. So we immediately thought water would be perfect, and so we talked about conservation, about what it means to use water and have fresh water.
My second and third graders studied about properties of water and also about the water cycle. We also looked at quality of water. We brought in different water samples. And then I have an after-school third grade STEM group that has taken that a little farther to learn about how you can clean dirty water, different ways to engineer a filter for that. So they've learned about that, and then they've also learned about counting money as well, and figuring out how we can get all the way up to 4,000 or beyond that.
This is a long walk to water, written and illustrated by Lucy Polk. So the story is about, there are two parts in the stories. In the story, one is about a boy named Salva, and then it's about his journey from when he was in school, and then there was a war going on in his country, so then they had to flee from the school, and then his traveling, and then he was part of the Lost Boys, and then eventually he was adopted by a family in America, so he was taken there. And then it takes place in 2008, and she has to walk half the her whole day back and forth to get water for her family, and so then there are always the water. There's always the water that Nya gets is always dirty and muddy. So then one day her brother gets sick from the water. So then they have to walk a long time to get to a hospital. So then eventually a well is built in Nya's village, and then so then they can get clean fresh water from the ground. And then there's someone at, who helped build the well, who was
Salva.
yeah. So then they kind of met up in the end. So it kind of tied the two stories together. I already knew about like how there in a lot of countries there's dirty water, but I didn't know like how bad it was, and then yeah.
Well, first of all, our PTO is a huge supporter in helping organize and think outside the box on ways we can do. And our all-school project, some of our teachers have experience at other schools doing things such as penny wars and different things, but really our PTO has been so generous, and other community members. For example, I think some of the kids may have talked to you already about our penny wars, and that was organized, and lots of parent support behind that. We have many opportunities like the note cards, the kids created those. Our parents just did a silent art auction where we had 3 parents who were very instrumental in securing different pieces of artwork for the silent auction. We raised over $2,400 in one evening.
Our first fundraiser actually was a coin drive, but it was called a penny war, and the kids brought in pennies to their classroom, but it was the goal that other classes tried to take away from your penny jar by bringing in other coins or bills that subtracted from that amount. And so actually we raised for that about $1,000 because they got really competitive with that. So lots of dollar bills, and actually $5 and $10 bills came to subtract the pennies.
One of our fundraisers was the kids made blank greeting cards using various different art forms like collage and watercolors, and we actually sold those cards in bundles of 5.
These cards, which we made
To raise money for a well that we're
Yeah.
trying to build, that we
for
already built.
Sudan.
For South Sudan school and we rebuilt it.
Yeah, we did, and I think we even raised a little more than the water well cast, which is pretty good. Then we sold them to people to raise money for the water well.
And our last fundraiser, we're going to do a walk for water. And so to kind of get the feeling of what it's like to have to walk many miles a day to get our water, we're going to walk around our school. I think first graders and through second graders will walk a mile, and kindergartners will walk half of a mile. And before the walk, the kids will get pledge forms from their family and friends, and donations will be made. And along their walk, they'll also be carrying jugs of water.
Then we're going to have a water walk, which is something that the H2O for Life program suggests to do for a fundraiser. And we're having the whole school is walking half a mile to a mile carrying water to see what it would be like to have to walk to carry your water back home.
I think it's affected the students by seeing that they can do something that will affect others and not getting anything in return. I think that's been a big lesson for them.
Feels pretty good. Yeah, I feel like, well, that's really good because then people will get water.
It feels good because we know that we're helping them get water and saving them trips to ponds.
And then, and then also like kids don't get sick and possibly like die because of the dirty water, like Anya's brother.
I think my students have really learned a lot about the fact that we take for granted that we have water, we turn on our faucet, we have clean water. They've learned that in lots of other parts of the world there isn't clean water, and that kids have to go and get the water from rivers and ponds, and the water's not always clean.
I think we've increased awareness of water. Our parents have been so supportive, and they have come in and volunteered and helped with learning at lunch, talking about water, bringing their knowledge of the world and community to us.
Well, I think we care a little more about water. That like we don't wash our hands like over and over or something like that.
I think now we are really deeply appreciated for the well.
I think like our art projects and stuff, like the art we have, it means more to us because it's actually about something, like something that's actually happening.
Good. Very good.
Water.